comments made by the following interviewees do not necessarily reflect the views, philosophies, or any other opinions held by me, Ford Schenkel. The speakers represent themselves and chose to do so on their own volition. They are shown here merely to inform the viewers at large about the dynamic momentum generated by the Occupy movement. Be sure to view all of the postings dealing with Occupy Pittsburgh on YouTube and CNNIReports.com.
Hi, my name is Gene Slavati, and I'm down here as an advocacy in the mortgage foreclosures. I was a victim of this back in 2002, and I've been fighting it since then. Countrywide took my home in a foreclosure, and in the court record, they didn't even own the loan. As the legal process played out against me in the foreclosure, Countrywide made me as a defendant. They didn't own the loan. I sat in a senator's office, Arlen Specter in Pittsburgh, 2004. Could have paid the house off in full. Who showed up for Countrywide's legal team was Fannie Mae's attorneys. They declined to take the money and the loan. At the time, I couldn't understand the reason. The reason is, though, the loan's on multiple spreadsheets, and I'm worth more in foreclosure than I was a paying customer. That's why the stocks have all crashed. That's why we're in this financial mess. The other disturbing part is when you've taken this to our elected officials and law enforcement, they decline any access for help. They actually make you like you're the criminal. And I've been fighting this system for 7 years now. And I still see the same thing going on as we speak, so nothing's changed with the corporate greed on Wall Street. They're still using the courts for their fraud.
Well, sir, are you impressed with the showing today?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what do you think the effect is going to be on the country because of other protests, but this one too?
Well, I mean, this really has to be just the beginning. Really, folks are waking up and standing together, and that's the fundamental thing. When you see folks just spontaneously and organically coming together, because this just on a basic level of decency and fairness, they've had it. You know, and that's where it starts. That's where it starts, with just that kind of a gut level response to injustice.
You have contact with unions, a great deal of contact. How do you feel your union brethren feel about this?
Well, you know, unions always come out and support people-powered movements. This is a populist movement that's really coming from the right place. It's people who just are fed up with the fact that they can't find work, they're unemployed, but meanwhile the guys at the top are doing better and better, they're doing just fine, and they're really taking advantage of a political system that's really set up for the top 1%.
And we see a sign behind you, Stop Corporate Greed. So
yeah, there he is. Hey, Eddie. It's my buddy Andy.
So this will do something? Do you think that people are going to listen? Will the politicians, since they're talking about presidential elections and so forth, is this going to make an impact?
But this is how things change. I mean, this is how democracy works. It has to come from the people. Part of the problem is folks have been too disengaged for too long in pushing back and making their voices heard. This is fundamental. This is what just as folks have been saying all day. This is what democracy looks like. This is how it works.
And you know what's interesting? I have interviewed and talked with and overheard a lot of people who are in their 50s, 60s, 70s who are here today, showing that they're disgruntled about things. Do you think that's going to help make this work?
Yeah, this is across the board. I mean, what's great about the march in Pittsburgh today was the diversity. You know, across union, non-union, old, young, across all ethnicities, people are standing together, sticking together, and making sure that their voices are heard.
What is the concern that you have, social concern, that is addressed by the Occupy movement, and do you think that this will have an effect on corporate America?
Well, I hope that it does have an effect on corporate America. I'm a supporter of single-payer, universal health care, Medicare for all, and I believe that we need to get corporations and greed out of our healthcare system.
Any other concerns?
No, I think that they're saying it all right here.
Do you think that the Democrats or Republicans are going to be more effective in making changes, positive changes?
I don't have a view on that at all. I think that this is not an issue that is right or left or Democrat or Republican. I think that this is an American issue.
Sir, could you give me your name and the position you hold?
Yeah, I'm Jack Shea. I'm president of the Allegheny County Labor Council.
Do you sympathize with the folks who are marching here today?
Absolutely.
Could you tell me why?
Well, you know, I've been waiting for something like this to happen since the Ronald Reagan days. I knew that eventually all of our citizens from all over the country would finally get tired of being treated the way they're being treated. You know, all of a sudden, the banks get away and our 401ks are now 201ks. They took a tremendous amount of money out of our wealth center, the working class, the middle class. They're just hitting us from all ends. Our home mortgages are not worth the same. We haven't had a decent raise for, well over 10 years. So it's just time that we all stand up together and say enough is enough. So that's why I support them.
How many labor members do you have influence with?
Well, in our Central Labor Council, we've been able to identify 110,000
in the Pittsburgh area.
In the Pittsburgh area, Allegheny County area, right?
And you feel that the organization is behind change, then?
Absolutely, absolutely. We support them, and we hope this is successful all over the country, and we think it will mean something.
My name's Paul Donahue. I live in Pittsburgh. My main concern is we've been through 30 years of basically war on the worker. 30 years of dismantling rights to organize unions, wages that don't keep up, in many cases cuts to wages. And so it's finally the fortune of the worker.
How are you going to change it, sir? What do you anticipate is going to be happening to help the worker more?
Well, we need enforcement of a lot of existing laws we already have on the right to organize, and we need to reimpose new regulations, reimpose Glass-Steagall on the financial industry to begin with, and we need to reimpose or give new broad social wage like people in many other countries enjoy, such as health care for all, and a living minimum wage, even in Canada, it's $10.25 an hour, and other benefits that in a lot of places people take for granted. In the United States they don't. And we need to stop this declining fortune of the worker and reward the people who create the wealth to begin with their labor.
Yes, ma'am.
We need to stop criminalizing black youth to keep them out of all the marketplace and being productive members of society. We need to get these corporate people who are committed heinous crimes all over the world in our name. We need to make it better score.
As the president of the United Steelworkers Union of America, could you tell me why you're supporting this Occupy movement?
Well, we've been part of the movement since the day it was started. Part of that is because for the last 30 years we've seen the deindustrialization of America. We've seen millions of jobs lost as we've lost manufacturing. We've seen the financial community want to destroy people's pensions. When a worker loses his home because of unfair trade in China, he loses his job, he loses his home, he loses his health care, loses the chance to send kids to college. So we've been in this fight for 30 years. And I'm glad that people are finally paying attention to the other 99%. And we're here, as we said, to fly our flag and to make sure that our voice is going to be heard.
How many members in the union, sir?
850,000.
Do you think that they will vote as a bloc in the presidential election?
Well, no one votes as a bloc, but I think that they know who's caused this problem and to be very political about it. They see that the president is trying to do things to create jobs, and they see the Republicans trying to block everything. Republicans are prepared to see millions of people out of work so they can try to get one man's job.
So what do you think this demonstration is all about?
It's about too many things to list. It's a general fed-upness of everything that's going on. Nobody's happy. Nothing's working. No representation in government that really matters anymore. We're fed up with all of it. It's the fact that it's kind of amorphous is itself the story. There isn't any one point. There's not even 10 points. There's like 50 things we're all fed up with. And we're enough fed up with all 50 of them that just got to get out there and yell about it.
To answer your question, what do I think the march is about? First, I don't think there's any hidden agenda at all. I think that that where the marchers are coming from is exactly where they say it's coming from. There have been demonstrations like this all over the world of globalized capitalism. Athens, London, Paris, Manhattan, and many others. So that's how I would approach the question.
Well, more specifically, though, what do you think? Do you think this is going to have any lasting effect? Will the people on Wall Street be listening? Do you think there will be social change?
I think the people on Wall Street and the politicians who support them are gravely concerned and frightened about the fact that these demonstrations exist at all and what to do about them. How would you like to be in the shoes of Mayor Bloomberg of New York, wondering whether to call out his PR people or call out the riot police? The guy is obviously split right down the middle on this, and good for him. Let him agonize what to do about us.
Hi, my name is Kathy, and I'm here today because I would like justice to be spelled Justice, not Justus. And I'm also here, I would like to challenge Bill O'Reilly and speak for Tavis Smalley and Cornell West concerning their deal with Bill O'Reilly about the criminal aspect of mortgage foreclosures. Mr. O'Reilly, if you want to see the criminal aspect in mortgage foreclosure, I can show it to you, I can explain it to you, I can wrap your head around it. It's in the court record. A lot of these foreclosures, they don't want our homes, they want the record they leave in the courthouse because, quite frankly, these assets are on multiple spreadsheets. I'm going to guess a good average of 5. And that's why we had all the toxic paper. That's why we had stocks go from $90 a share to almost nothing, like Fannie Mae all the way. And if you want to see the criminal is in the court record, and I would be glad to take you to Allegheny County Courthouse in Pennsylvania and Beaver County Courthouse in Pennsylvania, where I've done my research over 10 years, and I can show you how it's done. Then they take their losses to the federal government, and then they get 80% of their losses back, and they take their losses to AIG, and they take the house, and guess what? There's 2 Fannie Mae's.
Thank you.
What interests you about what's going on here today?
Today I'm here to introduce people. My issue is the fact that long enough to distrust base power that exists within the individual person, so we can make change towards an effective society. The people themselves have been taught since they were young that they are incapable of being in power of their natural rights and opportunities for happiness.
The comments made by the previous interviewees do not necessarily reflect the views, philosophies, or any other opinions held by me, Fort Shankle. The speakers represent themselves and chose to do so on their own volition. They are shown here merely to inform the viewers at large about the dynamic momentum generated by the Occupy movement. Be sure to view all of the postings dealing with Occupy Pittsburgh on YouTube and on CNNIReports.com.